You are what they fear. Not because you're dangerous in the traditional sense, but because you're different. You don't follow their rules, their limits, their expectations. They've built their world on a fragile foundation of sameness, a foundation that depends on everyone playing by their script. But you? You don't. You're the crack in that foundation, the one they can't predict, the one they can't contain. They fear you because they can't control you. Control is their safety net. As long as everyone behaves the way they're supposed to, they can maintain their illusion of order, of power. But you don't need their approval, their permission, or their validation. You exist outside the walls they've built to keep themselves comfortable. They fear the way you challenge them without even trying. The way you walk into a room and change the energy just by being there. The way your confidence, your authenticity, makes them question their own. They fear how your ideas shine a light on the flaws in theirs, how your strength highlights the cracks in their facade. It's not your power that scares them. It's their own weakness, reflected in your strength. It's the way you remind them that the world isn't as rigid, as unchanging, as they'd like to believe. They've spent so long convincing themselves that the way things are is the way they must be. They've convinced themselves that the rules they've made are the only ones that matter. And then you come along and you don't just bend those rules, you break them. Not recklessly, but naturally, simply by being who you are. They'll call you dangerous. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your existence shakes their certainty. They'll label you arrogant, rebellious, defiant. They'll try to make you feel small so they can feel big again. But here's the truth. Their fear is not your burden to carry. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Because you are not the problem. You're the reminder that they could be more, that things could be different, that the limits they live by are self-imposed. You are what they fear because you represent possibility. Change. Freedom. And change is terrifying for those who've built their identity around resisting it. Freedom is threatening to those who've convinced themselves they're already free. Possibility is unsettling for those who cling to the safety of the familiar. They'll try to bring you down. Not because you're wrong, but because you make them question everything they've accepted as right. They'll push you to conform, to shrink, to fade into the background. But you were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to be quiet, to be small, to be invisible. They fear you because they know, deep down, that they can't stop you. They can try to silence you, but your voice will grow louder. They can try to dim your light, but it will shine brighter. They can try to break you, but you'll only come back stronger. You are what they fear. And that's not a weakness, that's your power. So embrace it. Be their fear. Be the force that challenges their complacency. Be the voice that refuses to stay silent. Be the change they can't ignore. Because the moment they stop fearing you is the moment you've stopped making an impact. And you were never meant to settle for less than your full potential. You are what they fear. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're undeniable. And that's exactly what you were always meant to be.